I'm out here along the Poland Creek, which is in the Prescott National Forest. It's an absolutely beautiful area and I love coming here. The only thing that I have to be careful about when I'm out here is the poison ivy. Now, at first glance, poison ivy may look harmless, but it's going to limit where I step, because if I run into it, it's not without its consequences. The Arizona laws of defamation are not that dissimilar. Now, most people understand that the First Amendment to the United States Constitution proclaims the right of freedom of speech. What less people understand is that that free speech is not limitless, nor is it without its consequences. For example, case law has made it very clear that you do not have the right to run into a crowded theater and yell fire when there's no real fire, thereby causing a stampede, causing chaos, causing injury, and then expect to get off without any consequences because of your right to free speech. Now, the laws of defamation are another example of possible limitations against freedom of speech. The umbrella term that's used is defamation, but what that includes is libel and slander. Defamation is libel when it's written, and defamation is slander when it's spoken. To get a basic understanding of what defamation is, you first need to know what the legal definition is. In Arizona, the legal definition consists of 5 different elements that have to be met. They are that there is first a false statement, second, the statement is defaming to the person, third, it's published to a third party, fourth, the person who's making the defaming statement has the requisite fault, and fifth, the person who the statements are about is injured as a result of the statements. So what exactly does that mean? Well, the first element is pretty clear. The statement has to be false. The second element, it has to defame the person. Well, what does it mean to defame? Well, Arizona recognizes it as a statement that brings a person into disrepute, contempt, ridicule, or it impeaches the honesty, the integrity, the virtue, or the reputation of that person. Now, the third part, the third element, is that it has to be published to a third party. So if you and I are talking and the statement is simply made to me, that's not going to be enough. There has to be somebody else around. It has to be published to a third party. The person making the comment also has to have the requisite fault, which means that he knows or reasonably should know that the statement is false or reasonably could be false. And lastly, the person who this statement is about is injured. There has to be some sort of an injury. Well, now you have a basic idea of what defamation is. You also need to understand what defamation is not. It is not name-calling, and it is not personal opinion. If for some reason you don't like me and you decide to go on a Twitter rant and call me the worst person in the world, it's not defamation. That's name-calling. That's personal opinion. And as wrong as your opinion may be, that's not actionable. That's not defamation. Last tip that I have for you about defamation is that there are defenses and privileges that are recognized. Now, Arizona recognizes several of them, one of them being the fair comment privilege. And basically what that is when discussions are held which are of legitimate concern to the community because it materially affects the community, then those are going to be held to be privileged and not defamatory. Other defenses may include comments made in legal proceedings. The general idea is that in legal proceedings, we want individuals to feel free to express their claims or defenses in court without fear of being retaliated against. So if the comments are made in legal proceedings, generally that's going to be an exception to the rule of defamation. An absolute defense to defamation is truth. Statements have to be false to be defamatory. So, if the comments that are made are true, it's not defamation. Hope you've enjoyed this segment of the legal series and found the information useful. If you need a consultation, contact Curry, Pearson & Wooten.